I was at a dinner party once excuse me, with a group of friends, and most of them are retired. And one person turned to another, "John, what did you do all day?" And John said, "Well, you know, I'm retired. I got up this morning with nothing to do, and I spent all day doing it." Now, having known John had always been a hard worker. He supported his family, he had a good job, but he was enjoying life after retirement. And even though he said he did nothing all day, he was busy about many things, doing the things he really wanted to do that sometimes work kept him from doing. But now he had the freedom to do it. And that gave him another way of expressing his joy in life and helping increase his love for his fellow human beings. He worked hard, but he also knew that there was more to life than just work. That's what James is talking about today in the second reading. We all know people who spend their whole lives doing nothing but working. They get up in the morning, they go to work, they spend maybe 12, 14 hours at their desks, and then they come home and they do more work at home, they go to sleep, and then they get up and do the same thing the next day. They're always focused on work. And I think one of the joys about, the banes about modern technology, as good as it is, we are always available. You know, I was on vacation in Rome, and I got a call from the bishop. He said, "Well, I'd like to see you tomorrow." And I said, "I can't." And he said, "Why? I'm in Rome." He said, "Oh, okay." But then he wished me a happy vacation. But being available all the time sometimes can be a great thing, because we all know that when we're a phone call away, we can keep in contact with people. But sometimes we can spend so much time doing things that we forget to relax. That's what I liked about John. He worked hard all his life, but he also knew how to relax. And I think that's one of the things that we sometimes lose track of in our lives. One of the things that, and I'm stealing this from Father Jerry's bulletin article, I had the privilege of celebrating Mass at the monastery of St. Scholastica in Rogers Park. And I had the retired nuns. And as I began to get to know them better, I was recalled their motto, Ora et Labora, prayer and works. They were a group of women who really worked hard. They were teachers, and they were lawyers, and they were doctors, and they did all sorts of ministry. But if you notice, the one thing, prayer came first. They knew that they could not do their work if they didn't pray. And even though I was celebrating Mass for the retired nuns, one sister, Vivian, still had a job, and she was 105 years old. Granted, she was the archivist, which was a good job, but the whole idea was that even in retirement, you keep your mind active, and you continue to do things. But Vivian and all the other religious sisters, even though they had a job to do after retirement, they were still a group of women of prayer. And that made all the difference in their lives. And I think one of the things that we have to do every once in a while is step back and say, how important is my work to me? Well, we all need to work, or we won't be able to support each other and our families. But we also need time to spend just relaxing and doing absolutely nothing. And maybe spending that time doing absolutely nothing in prayer. And that could be any kind of prayer, any form of prayer. But just being in the presence of God can make all the difference in the world. So as James said, we can have faith, but if we don't practice that faith by doing things, then it means nothing. And hopefully in our lives that we will have balance, and that we will maybe get up someday with nothing to do and spend all day doing it, but knowing that we are doing the Lord's work.
Thank you for joining us for this celebration of the Mass. This virtual Mass is broadcast to hundreds of people every day of the week. You know, over 100 years ago, the very first celebrations of the Mass took place on the second floor of the Glenview Public House. It's been inconceivable that 100 years later, we would be reaching so many people all over the world through this technology. If you'd like to support the ongoing broadcasts of OLPH's Masses, please go to our website, go to Give Central, and you'd be able to support the ongoing outreach of this virtual ministry. Thank you for your support. Most of all, thank you for joining us in prayer. God bless you.